Happy Earth Day, Finns! We are thrilled to be a part of Earth Day 365's virtual Earth Day Festival. We have a special Facebook Live video for you today to celebrate our Earth and talk about some things we as humans can do to help our planet. I am here with Amelia from the St. Louis Aquarium Foundation. She is our Education Curator, and she's going to tell us a little bit about how we can protect our planet. Then we're going to check in with Aaron Sproul over at the St. Louis Aquarium, and he is going to show us some of the animals that can be affected by pollution when living in the wild. So thank you for joining us today, Amelia.
Yeah, and thank you all for joining us at home. Here at the aquarium, we care a lot about conservation, and conservation means doing things in your everyday life that can help the plants and animals and other humans that we share the planet with and help keep the planet healthy. So we have a lot of really cool animals here at the aquarium, and if you like them as much as we do, we're hoping that you'll take some of these conservation tips and think about your lifestyle habits at home and maybe do some things that can help save the planet.
Great. Can you tell us where we're at today?
Yeah, so this is our Conservation and Education Center. This is a free admission space that's ran by the St. Louis Aquarium Foundation, the nonprofit partner to the St. Louis Aquarium. And here you can come learn about conservation, you can learn about our local waterways and things that you can do to help protect our waterways.
So all of these plastic bottles, you at home might be noticing all of these plastic bottles around us. Can you tell us what's going on here?
Yeah, so this is our plastic bottle sculpture, and there's about 5,000 plastic bottles in this sculpture, which is approximately how many plastic bottles are purchased in the United States every 1.5 seconds. So we purchase a lot of single-use plastic bottles here in our country, and you might be thinking like, well, that doesn't sound so bad because a lot of those probably get recycled. But actually, only about 8% of plastic purchased in the United States gets recycled. So that would be only about 400 of these 5,000 plastic bottles that you see here.
Wow. So we have a lot here, but where might the rest end up?
Well, so the ones that don't get recycled, they end up either going to a landfill, being thrown away, or they can end up as litter. And even the ones that do get recycled, plastic isn't very easily recycled, so it can only be recycled about 2 or 3 times before it loses its quality to the point where it can't be made into anything new without adding new materials to it. So it's really best just to use as little plastic as possible. But if you need a disposable option, something like a glass bottle or aluminum bottle is actually better to use because those things are more easily recycled.
So I've heard people say before, reduce, reuse, recycle. Mm-hmm. But it sounds like you're saying it's best to reduce what we use and then reuse what we can, and then recycling is the last resort?
Exactly, yeah, that's what we try to tell people. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Recycling is great if you do need to use a disposable option, but it's really best if we can just reduce the amount of plastic that we use. There's a lot of single-use plastics, things like grocery bags or plastic bottles, Ziploc bags or lunch bags that you might take in your school lunch. And if you can exchange those things for some reusable options like storage containers that you could rinse out and use again and again, or a reusable plastic bag or a water bottle, that really helps protect the planet because you're just putting less trash into the environment.
This is great. I love this.
Yeah, an aquarium bottle. We also have a foundation reusable bag.
Ooh, look at this bag too. I can take this and go to the store.
Get yours today.
Do we sell these here at the aquarium?
We give these plastic or the reusable bags to members of the foundation.
Oh, awesome. Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay, but what if I use plastic, but I'm careful to make sure to throw it away or recycle it? Is that okay?
Well, a lot of people are very careful about making sure that their trash does end up in a trash can and the recyclables end up in a recycling can. But unfortunately, what happens is sometimes it can fall out of the trash truck or it can blow away out of the dumpster. And so you can't always be sure that even if you're being responsible and putting it away in the proper trash receptacle, it doesn't always end up where it's supposed to. So it really is best if we can just limit what we use, because anything that ends up as litter does end up getting washed into the waterways the next time it rains. And then, as you probably know, anything that goes into our rivers does eventually lead to the ocean, and then it'll eventually pollute the ocean as well.
Oh, So it's kind of like in Finding Nemo where they say all drains lead to the ocean?
Yeah, just like Finding Nemo. Yeah, so everything that we do here does affect our local animals, our local waterways, and it also affects ocean animals as well.
Okay. Well, now we're going to check in with Aaron, who is over in the aquarium at our Confluence Gallery, and he's going to tell us more about how some animals can be affected by pollution. Aaron?
Thank you, Amber and Amelia. My name's Aaron. I'm standing here in front of our Confluence Tank. It's our freshwater tank of native fish found from all over the area. Now, you may be asking, what is a Confluence Tank? Well, that's a really good question. Confluence Tank actually means when things come together. So right here in St. Louis, there's 3 rivers that actually come together. You have the Illinois River that's about 20 miles upstream, and then you have the Mississippi and Missouri River coming together right here in St. Louis. And what that does is that brings a lot of different fish that you would see or that you would find available. Now, what you're actually seeing behind me, though, is if the water were clear, if there weren't a lot of pollution, a lot of issues like that, you'd see all these wonderful fish. But unfortunately, what you're actually seeing is not really indicative of what goes on out there in the wild. If we were to actually make this tank look like what you would see in the wild, you may see a shopping basket, a couple tires, maybe even a car or two found in here. But that's things that we don't actually want in the water. We want nice, crystal clear water like you see behind me with big, huge, wonderful fish living great lives. Now, what are some of the fish that you actually see behind me? That's a really good question as well. There's a lot of really, really great fish, and one of my favorites is the paddlefish. You'll see them swimming along. They have a great big spoon-bill paddle on the front of their nose. And what's really cool about that paddle is it's a lot like sharks. It actually has electroreceptors on it that they pick up small particles out of the water, and what they do is they filter feed. So they eat the tiniest food out there. And you can imagine, so a lot of pollution, things like that, is going to affect that food and therefore affect that species. But that's not the only thing that's affecting that species. And we're talking about a fish that's been here for probably 100 million years, but in the last 50 years has seen more than a 50% decline out in the wild. And a lot of things are, something we can prevent, little things at home, and then something that's beyond our control. But for the most part, little things, just keeping the water clean, keeping those plastic bags out, the bottles out, things like that would actually interfere with these fish. Properly disposing of oils and things like that, and even just simple things as like your shampoo that you use at home. If you can use reduced phosphate shampoos or soaps and things like that, makes it a lot more pleasant for the fish. Now, one of the other fish that you'll find in here is our blue catfish. There's several of those in here as well. Now, that's kind of a funny fish because that fish is on the uprise. And what's really, really, I guess, bad or good about that, depending on how you look at it, is that fish loves the pollution. What that pollution in the water, the sediment, the silt, all kinds of things make it actually a better habitat for that fish. So they've seen a huge, huge increase with catfish in our freshwater systems. And although great for like fishermen and things like that, what they are finding is the catfish are opportunistic feeders. Basically what that means, they'll feed on anything in the water. Any of the other fish that are in the water, frogs, amphibians, crayfish, anything they can eat, basically they will eat it. So what you're finding from the pollution in the water is you're seeing a decline in a lot of the really, really cool fish, such as the paddlefish, the gar, and things like that, and seeing an uprise in catfish and other fish species like that are opportunistic. So we're kind of affecting the balance of life here basically in our waters. So the whole goal behind this is let's try to keep our waters as clean as possible. All these waters go down to the ocean. All drains lead to the ocean, as they like to say. All our drains go into the river, all that river water goes to the ocean, and all that pollution, everything that goes along with it. So something as simple as a plastic bottle, or nowadays with the COVID crisis going on, I'm seeing a lot of those rubber gloves on the ground that I've never ever seen before. All those are going into our water system, and all those are going to wash all the way down into the ocean one day. So the goal is let's just keep everything properly disposed of. Let's recycle it. Let's reuse it if we can. And if we can't, let's just make sure that it gets properly covered up in the landfill and go from there.
Thank you, Aaron. That was some really great information from the St. Louis Aquarium and how pollution can affect those animals in our local waterways. So now we're back in the Aquarium Foundation with my Fin, Amelia. And we wanted to let you know, if you have any questions today about recycling or conservation in general, please type them in the comments and we'll be answering those throughout the day. Also, if at home you do anything fun to recycle or reduce or reuse, share that with us. We love to see how those in the community are taking our mission to heart. So Amelia, what else can we do in the Aquarium Foundation?
Yeah, so like I said, we have lots of interactive exhibits that teach about water stewardship and taking care of our waterways. And one of them I wanted to show you here is our digital river game.
What is this?
Yeah, it's pretty fun. So this is a river scene, and looking at it right now, you can see it's pretty polluted. The water looks dirty. There's not a whole lot of animals in the scene. You see there's some piles of trash, but there are 5 different conservation-themed games that you could play here that help you clean up this river scene. So Amber, do you want to try the garbage game?
Oh, yes.
So here you're going to tap on the garbage as you see it going into the river.
What do I got to do?
Oh, you missed
one. Oh, no.
So you just tap on it to make it disappear.
My nails are too long.
It's kind of challenging. We should have started on a slower game, I think. But so this is helping teach people that it's all of our responsibility to help keep the waterways clean. So good job. Even if you're not the person directly putting trash into the river, it's still important to help keep them clean. You can participate in a stream clean, or even just by making sure that you're being responsible yourself and disposing of your waste appropriately.
Ooh, those tires.
5 seconds left.
Oh, okay,
And
milk.
as you play these games, oh, and you can get some of the ones down here that you missed too. So it tells you how many pounds of garbage you kept out of the river, and it gives you a little
67 pounds, guys.
way to go. It also tells you how your actions can help protect animals in the wild. And then once you play this game, it helps clean up the river and keep the river scene clean here.
This is so important.
Yeah, another one of the games we have here is the invasive animals game. And this is just talking about how healthy rivers have native species. So this game here, you're tapping on the invasive species to make them magically disappear. And as we continue to play these games and get the river scene clean here, you'll see more of the native species coming back onto the river scene. Good job. And it's telling you what these invasive species are as well. There's a zebra mussel. We also have
Chinese
a Chinese
mystery
mystery
snail.
snail.
Rusty crayfish. Oh my gosh.
Oh, we got somebody jumping out here too. We also have an invasive plant game over here. And in this game, you're swiping to cut down the invasive plant. This is purple loosestrife here that we're cutting down. And then you're tapping to plant a native plant instead. Because again, healthy habitats do have biodiversity with native plant and animal species.
This is a really good way to learn about the things that go into our waterways and how we can help.
Yeah, we think it's a fun and educational way of communicating this to our community too. And I like that it gets the message across too that it's everyone's responsibility to work together to keep the river clean. And if you do nothing, if you're not playing any of these games, the river scene gets polluted again and dirty, because it really does take active people doing the work to keep the waterways clean.
And we've done a few river cleanups here in the community, right?
Yeah, so the St. Louis Aquarium and the St. Louis Aquarium Foundation have participated in a few stream cleans, and we plan to continue to do more in the future. So keep an eye out on our social media and our website for more information about that.
Okay,
I did want to
great.
show the microplastics game too. This is my favorite one over here. So this game, it's very educational because it's talking about how small pieces of plastic or microplastics are getting into our waterways, and fish often ingest them. So that means that they're eating them, they're getting in through their gills, or maybe they're mistaking them for insects. And then why that's such a problem is because the plastic stays in their stomach, and then the animals could starve because they don't have room in their stomach for the food that they need. So it's important just to use less plastic because as plastic pollution gets in our waterways and in the rivers, it doesn't decompose and doesn't just break down and turn into dirt. It actually stays plastic for a really, really long time, and it just breaks into smaller and smaller pieces of plastic that are then a lot harder to go clean up. So these tiny pieces of plastic that fish are eating is a problem for the health of the fish, and then also if you like to eat fish, it's a problem for you as well. So that's a fun way to learn about microplastics, and then it helps make our digital river scene healthy again. And as we play these games, it gets dirty pretty quick. But you can see that there more animals come into the scene, and these are native animals that are coming into the river scene here. So this is just one of the other fun exhibits that we have in our Conservation and Education Center. Hopefully another thing that you can come check out once we are able to open again.
Cool. Thank you for that. That was fun and a really great way to learn. So are there, do you have any animals here?
We do have some animals, and we have some other interactives that we want to show you as well, so you can come along this way. We have a few animal tanks here that highlight some local species with some information about how our actions affect animals locally and globally. Right now we have some sunfish, some eastern newts, a northern map turtle, and a corn snake featured here in the Conservation Center. We do rotate the animals out periodically, but you'll have to come check it out once we're open again and see what animals we have then.
And when you reopen, will you be doing any education classes here?
Yeah, so we do have field trip groups that come and visit the aquarium and our Conservation Education Center, and we offer education classes as well that are STEM-based, where you can come learn about conservation topics, about marine biology, and other topics that are aligned to state learning standards.
Okay, awesome. So now we are in front of what looks to be a quiz. Can you tell us about this?
Yeah, this is our Eco Impact Quiz, and this asks you a series of questions about your lifestyle and habits that you have in your everyday life, and then gives you some encouragement or some ideas of ways that you can make small changes in your life that will make a big impact in helping the environment. So you can take this quiz. You start by choosing your age. So we have questions tailored to different age groups. So for younger age groups, it's questions that are based on things that that a child can do in their own life. So maybe you're not the one buying your groceries, but if you are a young person, you can still do things like turn off lights when you're not using them, or take shorter showers and things like that. So it asks you some questions about do you take showers or baths? So just some everyday life habits. And then it tells you if that is something that's helping the planet, or if maybe you can make some small changes that would be better for the environment. So this is another thing that people, once the Conservation Center is open again, can come and take this quiz here. But we also wanted to let you know that starting today, we made an online version of this quiz that we're posting on the St. Louis Aquarium Foundation website under the Education tab. So you can take this quiz at home. There's different links for each age group, so everybody could take this quiz at home and get these eco tips.
Awesome. I can't wait to take that when I get home to see if I am environmentally impactful in a good way.
Yeah, and it gives you some helpful ideas of like small things you can change that would be even better.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for joining us today at the St. Louis Aquarium Foundation. Thank you to Earth Day 365 for having us on this virtual journey. I learned so much today about how I can help our waterways and just normal things in my everyday life that I can do a little bit better. So thank you for that. We look forward to welcoming you back into the aquarium and the Aquarium Foundation when we open. So don't forget to take our online quiz that we have for you today, and also we'll be posting an activity too. So thank you for joining us today, and let's make every day Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day!